Alright, just doing a little post-tournament update on Fairfield. So we fished Fairfield in March 2022. Weather was pretty much sunny, what they would call bluebird skies. Water temperature was kind of like low to mid 50s. And the lake, for whatever reason, is just really, you can see this, I pulled this off of some of my lures. There was just all of this really thick slime, algae, scum all over the place. I heard a couple people say they've never seen that before. So obviously it was a lot stringier than this, but this was like literally was off all the baits. I started pulling it off, and that was the clump of it that when it all dried out that was left on there. So something just to be aware of. It's pretty slimy out there. I started the morning off fishing around riprap, then spent the one dock that's over there. I fished a little bit with not a whole lot of success either. I then really just spent the rest of the day fishing shallows, basically throwing into or near grass and just kind of working some baits through. So the bait that I had the most success with was this here, which was kind of this like beaver style bait. This is a Vile bug from Catchco, or Biospawn, I guess what they call it, but it's owned by Catchco. And the only thing I did was I just dipped the tail of it in the, like in Spike It, that garlic scent. Basically just Texas rigged this, no peg or anything, and I think a 3/16 tungsten weight. I just basically just kind of tossed this around. I ended up catching a pretty good sized fish. That lake is a slot lake, so it's like an 18-inch minimum. So I ended up catching a pretty fat 17.5-inch fish that I had to paper off of this. But basically what I was doing was just kind of skipping this thing around in the water, and where I was finding that I was getting activity and bites was actually as you were coming off some of that clear water, that shallower water, kind of right on the edge where the water gets a little bit dirty, and that's where I was catching the fish. So I couldn't even see the fish, but which is surprising. I thought that they would be a little bit shallower and you'd actually be able to see them or see them come out of the grass or something like that, but they were actually kind of on that edge. So really kind of a tough day of fishing, honestly, and I only ended up papering the one fish. A couple people had 18-pound bags, and I think they were just a little more depth at that lake and those conditions than I was. One of the things I didn't even think to use it, but I'd heard that people had a lot of success with being sunny like that, was just a chrome rattle trap. So that might be something to try. I've also heard people had a lot of luck with like a Vision 110, kind of in like a white with a kind of purple back color, or like, I'm trying to think of the name of it, but there's another like a Berkeley bait that Hank Cherry has, and I'm trying to, it was like City Lights or something like that, I think was another jerk bait on the Stunna that people have had luck with. I tried a couple different jerk baits, didn't have a whole lot of luck with that. Tried a bunch of crankbaits, didn't have luck with that. Tried the Vile bug. I was trying to remember what else I tried. There was a lot of, I think I tried a spinner bait and a bunch of other stuff like that. But I think really the trick there was, and probably because I was fishing in too clear of water, was to actually probably backed off the shore a couple more feet and kind of got into that little dingier water. I'd also look like on my way back to weigh in that there were fish kind of set up on points. I think I saw a lot of arches on a ledge as I was coming around. I was tempted to risk being late trying to make a couple casts there, but anyways, that was Fairfield. Not a great showing. That may be a tournament that I'll drop. I get to drop one of my lowest tournaments, so that may be a drop for me. And then just looking forward to April for our next tournament, which is going to be Lake Athens.